Next one's from MK Flores, and the subject is a Hall of Fame speech. I'm going to be direct. That was a great speech at the WWE Hall of Fame by Konnan. Well, I think that's arguable. I have to admit, I was on the edge waiting for you to drop a tremendous word for Latino at the Hall of Fame line. Okay, so MK Flores, thank you for putting Konnan over. You didn't ask a question, so you just got suspended from the mailbag.
And I'm surprised because he's a long time writing guy. He writes
he's,
in a lot. He
right,
should know better.
Right.
Right.
Next is from Jonathan S. and subject is conspiracy theory or facts.
Are you gonna remember that, Joe?
Yeah, I was
write it down, MK Flores.
Yeah, I was just grabbing my pen.
He was gonna write it down after we were done. Yeah.
No, I was reading something.
The next is from Jonathan S. and the subject is conspiracy theory or facts. Salutations, K100 crew. Konnan has famously said before, don't let the truth get in the way of a good story. With that being said, do you think that Larry Does Dallas was shooting his shot to try and get a job with AEW with his drunken tirade aimed at the real people's champion, the Disco Inferno? Although it was alcohol-fueled in his parents' basement, midweek being almost 40, telling tales and evidence emerged. His friendship with QT Nyquil Marshall, the AEW Simps, hatred at Disco, and Larry needing gainful employment after his girlfriend kicked him out for presumably not doing dishes, putting garbage out, and constantly watching reruns of 1993 SummerSlam while playing with wrestling figures, while smeared in Pockets Pizza. I assume Ben Heyman, with his love of conspiracy theories, would agree with the abundance of evidence presented above. What do you guys think? I think this was a terrible email that was just a bunch of gibberish, and I don't even know what the guy's asking here. Yeah. You got any comment on this email?
What's the question?
I don't even know. What do you guys think? That's the question. I said I think his email was gibberish. I didn't really understand anything he was saying. It's very poorly worded. Yeah. Go ahead.
Oh, it's kind of like, do you think Larry going after Disco was an attempt to gain favor with AEW, I guess?
I don't know a lot of these. I don't know a lot of these people that they see that Will Washington got hired by Tony, right? So I wonder if a lot of these Mark podcasters or people that are kind of like outside looking in think that they have a shot at getting hired by that company.
100%.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. And just to reiterate, okay, to all my haters out there, I'm not looking for a job from them, by the way. Like people say, oh, they're not going to hire you. They're not going to, that's always like they said, WWE's not going to hire you. AEW's not. Okay, I don't want to work there. I make enough of my other jobs. Next is from Danny Riviero, and the subject is, there's no subject. Hello, everyone. I have a question for Konnan and Disco. My question is, what do you think of the WWE Hall of Fame? Would you like to see if Lex Luger goes to the Hall of Fame one day? He's one of the best wrestlers, and he won many championships and been a lot of great matches. Still have not in yet. Thank you. Have a great day. Yeah, I think Luger should be in the Hall of Fame for sure.
Without a doubt.
Definitely Hall of Fame. Would you agree that Luger's a Hall of Famer?
Yes.
Konnan? Absolutely.
Of course.
Yeah.
Now, do you think they might avoid that and not want to do it because of the way Elizabeth died?
I don't know. Maybe. You never know. Next is from Yanish Horton. Subject is Maxine Dupree backlash. Maxine Dupree did an IG live stream with a media company a few days ago. In it, she mentioned that once her WWE deal is up in 2 to 3 years, her plan is to use her WWE fame to bring attention to her fashion label company once it's up. Right on cue, the wrestling fans went hard with comments in the chat. You get the out of the business if you don't respect it. You should just do instead, all the usual stuff. For me, I don't see a single thing wrong with what she said. I mean, she's being used as a valet in a comedy storyline. She's great in her role. She's never trained to be a wrestler, and it's clearly not something she's aspiring to do. So why give her for having a smart business mind like every other woman her age? I'm pretty sure we could all predict what Disco's going to say if he hasn't rolled his eyes or cut the email off by now. But Konnan and Disco, I would love to know what you guys think about the IWC backlash towards Maxine. I didn't see this, but I could see if she said she's just going to use the company and just in a couple of years get out and wrestling fans are deplorable. I mean,
they're deplorable. I was just going to say that. Yeah,
right. They're the worst. I mean, of course they're going to you got your trolls and you got your so she's an attractive girl, so I don't know.
It's like back in the day when guys would jump from ECW to WCW, and the fans would throw, like Cactus Jack would tell you, he had drinks thrown at him, spit at, all this stuff. And all he was doing was going from making $500 a night to 6 figures. Right. Shouldn't you be happy for the guy that you're a fan of? And isn't it, I don't know if it's the point for everyone, but wouldn't you say a good percentage of people that get into wrestling, they'd like to have a business idea or opportunity when they retire, or they have plans? That's the idea, right? use your fame to help set yourself up. What the f- is wrong with that?
No clue.
Deplorable, Bi, deplorable.
Tony, you got a comment on this?
Well, the thing is that a lot of these guys that are trashing her and trash anybody else that's successful is because they're not successful and they're
Right.
jealous and mad and they can't stand seeing. Well, get up your and be proactive and do something yourself instead of worrying about what other people are doing. And then while they're doing good, you have nothing better to do than be talking about them. That's why you don't go anywhere in life. But this girl is probably maybe talked to other girls in the business and said, hey, this is, you could leave here. They could end your contract tomorrow and you'll be out on the streets like Eve and all these other chicks. And I go, make something of it. What would you rather be doing? Because, bro, wrestling's hard. That's what these fans don't understand. They think it's all glamorous, bro. You have to look a certain way. You have to act a certain way. You're always walking on eggshells so you don't get heat. You've got jealous wrestlers. You got others that are trying to cut your throat. You always got to be traveling. You're away from home. You got to go and train to look a certain way. It's not easy, And so what would she rather be doing? Flying around, doing all that, or maybe running a business out of where she grew up, so.
Next was G Money, and the subject is Konnan and Rap-A-Lot Records mailbag question. Konnan, you briefly spoke about Big Chief from Rap-A-Lot Records was interested in signing you after WCW's No Limit Soldiers angle. Can you talk about that more in depth? I'm a Rap-A-Lot Records historian on Instagram. It's at Rap-A-Lot History. Keep up the great work. Boom. Konnan, do you have comments on this?
So so obviously you know who Big Chief is. That's Jay Prince's assistant. Jay Prince was the owner and still is the owner of Rap-A-Lot Records, which one of my favorite groups came out of the Ghetto Boys. But basically what had happened is they had seen my video, and Big Chief set up a call with Jay Prince, and Prince was like, "Yo, I'll give you any producer that you want, and since you're a historian, if you have any way of getting a hold of Jay Prince, ask him." And so Jay Prince was like, "Yo, any producer you want to work with?" And I was like, "Anybody? You mean like Dre, like this guy, like that guy?" He goes, "Anybody." So he was willing to give me any producer. The other thing that he was willing to do, which I didn't even know that this existed or you could do, which is obviously a trick that they do to like put a rocket in somebody. He goes, "I'm going to buy the first 500 album, so it goes gold in its first week." And I was like, wow. So at that time, me and Eric had mega heat. Plus, Eric was working with Tommy Boy Records, which to me, they were doing like really soft rap that I didn't like. He was like, "Well, we already have a deal with Tommy Boy Records. We're doing these entrance themes from every wrestler with Tommy Boy Records." And I was like, "Tommy Boy Records, I want to go over here." But that was like when me and him were at his at our worst, and he was like, "Nah, you can't go over there because we're working with Tommy Boy," which very regrettable because this guy was willing to really invest in me. But whatever, But that is the story.
They eventually put a CD out too.
Who?
With Tommy Boy, WCW.
Yeah, right. Yeah, right. Yeah.
Next is from Christian Edwards. Somebody's legitimate question regarding suspension.
Oh, I'm sorry. Real quick, yeah, I apologize. Your themes. I'm looking at the track listing. Your themes on here, Konnan. You ever get any? You ever see any royalties from Tommy Boy or anything from record sales?
I don't remember. Yeah, I don't remember.
Next is from Christian Edwards. The subject is a good legitimate question regarding suspensions. K-Dog DI the Fiend. Honest question, guys. While I may be suspended, was that a home run? Oh my, just fell. K-Dog DI and the Fiend. Honest question, guys. While I may be suspended for sending a second email question, I truly am not certain what the exact rules are regarding sending email questions is. As stated in my previous email, I'm a long-time listener, but only of your daily YouTube videos, which are just clips of your show. I've gathered that your email rules, you can't send 2 emails in 24 hours. However, I can't absolutely say I'm 100% certain. I'll say that I absolutely agree with Disco's point that we listeners should only be sending questions that are truly engaging, insightful, and thought-provoking. I'll be frank. I feel I have some legitimate, compelling questions about the pro wrestling business in our modern era, and I really look forward to sending them. I just don't want to violate your email rule, and therefore would like to ask if you could once and for all clarify exactly specifically what that email rule is. If so, I pledge not to violate it. If you have already covered this and have missed it or forgotten, forgive me. If you can't and you have to suspend me, then you have to suspend me. Just let me know the rules of the game so I may engage in a proper, respectful manner, respectfully inquired intellectual. Okay, here are the
I
rules.
think you should suspend him now for being too respectful. That was just over the top.
I'm not going to suspend him. I'm just going to because
You know
he
what?
asked.
Wait a minute. Before you answer, I'm going to suspend him because he tried to use reverse psychology on us by saying if you have to suspend me, because usually people say, "Oh, it's all right." No, it's not cool. You're suspended. Please write that down, Joe, because you won't remember.
Okay, well, here's the rules.
Edwards.
We record the show on Monday or Tuesday. Really, you got to get your email in before noon on Monday. All right?
I would advise if you have that many questions, just send one like every Sunday. Perfect.
Right. Or you can send two questions in one mailbag. Right.
You could join Patreon. You could jump on a live mailbag that we try to do every 4 to 6 weeks or whatever. Right. And you can ask Konnan and Disco a few questions and get their answers right from the horse's mouth.
Right. And here's the other thing. And before you say the other rule, and here's the other thing. You're just listening to YouTube, bro. We're on Spotify, Apple, Amazon, Facebook. You can check us out there too. And what's the second rule?
Go ahead, yeah.
What now? The second
rule?
What's
the second rule? Yeah.
Oh, just got one submission a week. That's it.
Don't spam the mailbag.
There's another rule. You must ask a question.
You got to ask a question. Right.
And the third rule, it can't be something stupid.
Right.
Yeah. And that's actually kind of common, Konnan. There's I read a lot of the YouTube comments, and there's a good amount of people that just listen to the short clips on YouTube. I don't know. That's what they like, because they'll always ask for something like, "Oh, I didn't hear this." And I'm like, "What talking about? It was on the show." "Oh, I only listen to YouTube." Like, well, you gotta listen to the show. Not everything from the show makes YouTube. Our YouTube's all wrestling, basically, because Hugh's just trying to keep us out of trouble. So if you wanted to hear about another topic, even if it's just sports or whatever, you got to listen to the shows.
Next is from Joseph Greco, and the subject is Nate Diaz versus Jake Paul. What's up, K100? Congrats on the success up to this point. I hope the show keeps on growing. I watched a Jake Paul fight, all 10 rounds. You can't tell me that was completely fixed. Nate wasn't even throwing punches. In fact, he threw harder punches pre-fight with the trainer guy holding the pads. Do you think fixed fights in boxing are okay, or does it need to stop? Thanks, and that's Joe from Wisconsin. That was not fixed. That's just how Nate fights.
You guys don't agree at all that those are fixed, but I'm on the opposite side of the page on that. I think it's going to work from the very beginning, and it's only building to Jake and Connor.
They would never do that. They would never do that, okay, because they're taking bets on the fight. If there was any hint of impropriety, these sports gambling sites would not take the action. Trust me on that. There's a lot of regulation going on with that. If they didn't think it was on the up and up, they wouldn't take bets on it, right? So, and plus too, Jake Paul wasn't holding his punch, wasn't pulling his punches. I mean, he was tagging him, So I don't know.
He almost put him through the ropes once, but I know that was fixed. Yeah, I just don't think, bro. They're not guys that need money. They're paid. Nick Diaz finally got paid, and he'll be paid forever because he's like a legend now. He could make a lot of money doing autograph sessions, seminars, exhibitions. And it's his legacy. He lost to a YouTuber.
Right.
I'm not saying it isn't possible, because anything is possible, but that don't look like it's worked to me.
Next is from John.
This could include Disco too, because who knows what those guys do in Vegas. Have either of you guys ever met either of the Diaz brothers? Come across them anywhere? Have you ever met Nate or Nick Diaz? They ever come to the club or anything? Or Konnan? Did you ever see them at
I have
UFC
never
show or anything?
But I have been to Stockton, and what a dump. Disco was with me, I think, weren't you?
Yeah,
Disco, weren't you with me?
With me and Kevin Gill.
Yeah, what?
Was that the convention?
Yeah, the convention.
Yeah, that was with Nash,
Hall, and Waltman.
And yeah, that's why those white boys are all tough, bro. Because it's like,
rough. It's a tough town,
right?
Right.
Yeah.
So next is John Kamape, and the subject is Holland. Just 48 days ago, it was announced, confirmed that Big E is pretty much done with his wrestling business due to the horrific broken neck he suffered from the botched suplex on the outside by Ridge Holland. Also missing some time right now is Elton Prince, the blonde from Pretty Deadly. He's going to miss time due to a bad shoulder injury caused by, you guessed it, a botch from Ridge Holland. Now, I get this is only 2 entries out of dozens, if not hundreds of matches he's had over the past year or so. But what do you guys think the backstage heat is like on Holland? In your history of the business, what's the reputation guys get for stuff like this? P.S. I hear Bill Body once again got thrown out of the Wrestler's Hotel once again for SummerSlam. I'm praying that he gets the medical help he needs. I don't think Billy flew over to here for SummerSlam, did he?
I believe so.
He did?
Yeah, and I saw that too.
Yeah, but usually on his on his thing he'll post pictures of like with his kid and stuff.
Maybe it's a joke. I don't know, but it was actually his co-host that tweeted, "Oh, Billy got kicked out of the hotel again or something." Maybe they're just around. I don't know.
Oh, they did. Yeah, I don't know. Who knows, right? They could be a joke.
Yeah.
I don't know. Who cares?
Yeah.
So I don't know. I didn't know that Rich Holland hurt this pretty deadly guy. You know, but let me tell you something. If you voluntarily take a move from somebody that could cause you injury, it's kind of on you too. Bro, wrestling doesn't work. You don't have to take guys' moves if you don't think they're safe. But if you're taking a move that's that you could hurt your neck like Big E got hurt, that's on him too. You know, like this is he's a big guy. He's hard to get over. Like I wouldn't, I don't know. Like Scott Steiner always scared me with a lot of his suplexes because he wasn't, he didn't like seem like he was taking.
He wasn't
care
protecting
of,
you.
Right,
yeah,
right.
He was. He didn't. He wasn't.
But he was so strong that he'd get you over. Like he there was a spot we did in the WWE pay-per-view in Vegas where I was doing the announcing, right? And he wanted like to beat me up at the announcer table, throw me in the ring, put me on the top rope, and overhead belly to belly me, from the top rope. And I was like, I'll do it, because I know Scott is strong. He's gonna get. And bro, he if you watch that bump, that's one of the biggest bumps I've ever taken in my life. I'm on the top rope. He belly to bats me over his head. I go flying through the air like it land in the middle of the ring. I was like literally the big, but thank God he threw me strong and I landed perfectly. But like that was a move that I could, like, if he throws me wrong or something, I could screw up. But it's like I knew Steiner. First of all, you're not gonna say no to Scott Steiner. He'd have gotten mad at me. So, yeah. But that's my take on this. What are you gonna comment on this, Konnan? Ridge Holland.
Well, he's still out there wrestling, so he obviously has no heat.
Right.
But as far as Scott Steiner, I've told this story before, but he had this finishing move that he didn't do too many times.
The suplex pile driver, right?
No. It was like
the screwdriver. It's a suplex.
Yeah,
suplex.
Yeah, suplex. You got him up for a suplex and you pile drive. You just go down. Right.
Okay. Well, he hit me with that, bro, and I felt my neck because I thought he'll protect me. He's got big legs and he's strong. Right. Nah, bro. I felt it really bad, and I remember going to the dressing room and I was like, I know I'm gonna look like a bitch, but I don't give a. And I go, bro, don't ever do that to me again, please, ever. And he never did. But I do remember one time that we were in the ring and it was really, really packed. We were like in a hot town. I think it was Baltimore. We were in Baltimore and it was really packed. And I was really over. And as you know, when you're over, Disco, you don't have to do that much because you're over, So you work to get over so you don't have to work as hard. Right. And so Scott has always been over, right?
Right.
And I remember telling him, dude, because we had wrestled the night before that, and he hit me, and I'm not lying, with at least 8 suplexes. Right. And I was like, bro, the 8 suplex isn't necessary. Hit me with like 4, I'll sell him. Bro, he still went out there and gave me 8 suplexes. And there was actually one time where because I was like pissed, I grabbed the rope. And I was pretty strong at this time because I was benching heavy inclines and just normal chest. And he was pulling me, and I was like, you know what? If I don't let go, this is going to probably turn into a shoot. That's not what I want, So I let him suplex me again. And I was like, Scott, really? Is that really necessary? And he just laughed. And I was like,
right, just laughed. Well,
this guy doesn't get it.
Well, the problem with the Steiner brothers and like a lot of the other guys, not so much like with the Road Warriors were there for a cup of tea, like a little bit, But bro, it was like Scott Steiner, the Steiner brothers had a history of just brutalizing the job guys.
Right.
But now we're in WCW. It's like, dude, there's no more job guys anymore. We're all making like $300,000 a year or more. It's like, you're not treated. You shouldn't treat us like the jobbers. It's like we're all in here we're all working with each other. We've had it. We're not the enhancement talent. and he just kind of like was from that mindset of like, I'm just gonna throw everybody all over, all over the place. But he threw the
Bro,
Giant. Remember he suplexed the Giant? How much heat he got on that? Yeah, it's like
And I remember, when I was in WCW when it was still NWA. So we're talking like 90 or something like that, like before Bischoff came in, right? And I was backstage and there was a match in the ring. And one of the guy, I think the guy's name was Nightcrawler or something like that, it was this big guy. I think it was from Detroit, like one of these like 6'11", 6'10". And he was like, told him not to do that. Bro, he ran out of the dressing room, unannounced run-in, clotheslined the guy, almost knocked the guy out, and went throughout the other side. I was like, this guy's too much.
Right.